Okay, who out there has ever struggled with using your voice, with being honest? Now, be honest about this. Have you ever struggled to actually tell the truth to a man? Now, I want you to think about this. Say you're on a date with someone and you actually really don't like the restaurant, or you really feel uncomfortable because this person wants to put his hand on your back. Have you ever just come right out and were very, very honest? Yes, some women don't struggle with this. They're quick to say something. And for others, they either fawn or freeze. There's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And we can find ourselves in these varying places depending upon the trigger or depending upon the circumstance. I want to talk about rigorous honesty. So I am in a 12-step program, and we talk about rigorous honesty as a value, as something that you have to incorporate and cultivate in your life on a daily basis in all areas of your life, not compartmentalizing where, this area of my life I'm not rigorously honest, but in this area of my life I'm rigorously honest. No, rigorous honesty becomes a way of life. And it's necessary to no longer go into addiction. And I could say too that it's necessary so that we don't fall into traps of being inauthentic or finding ourselves in the wrong places because of our dishonesty. Now, I'm not saying that people are dishonest because they are malicious people, but we can find ourselves in places of being dishonest, sometimes even without realizing it, because it was possibly a coping mechanism from when we were little that we cultivated to keep us safe, because we thought that when we were honest, somebody would leave us. If we shared our truth, someone wouldn't be able to handle, because they didn't have emotional maturity enough to handle truth. And so they would gaslight you or place blame on you because of their own shame. They would then shame you. What we need to do now as adults is we need to become aware of when we are being dishonest. And this is something that I'm working on right now. And I'll give you an example in a moment. We need to become aware so that we're not sabotaging our chances at legendary love, at deeply rooted, amazing, authentic, passionate love based in truth. And we're going to be able to get this legendary love if we have a lifestyle of rigorous honesty. I really feel like a lot of women really struggle with this because they have been taught they're supposed to be polite, they're supposed to be nice, they're supposed to be compliant, they're supposed to be soft, they're supposed to be nurturing. It's not nice to tell someone flat out, I don't feel comfortable, I don't like this, when someone's put in, say, for instance, like a lot of effort. Now, there's varying degrees to this. You need to be wise, discerning, have common sense. Just coming right out and going up to a stranger and just being honest and being rigorously honest. I'm supposed to be rigorously honest. I just really don't like your hair. Common sense. Be led by the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit. When you are walking with Christ, when Christ is making your heart new and plucked out that heart of flesh, and you are submitting your life to the Lord, and you're saying, God, please make me into more of a likeness like you, then you're going to have these characteristics that are like the fruits of the Spirit. And one of them is going to be patience and self-control and humility and honesty. I don't know if that's one of the fruits of the Spirit. Anyway, I'd have to look at that, but honesty is important. So cultivating this lifestyle of rigorous honesty, if we come from people-pleasing tendencies, it definitely can be a work in progress. I'll give you an example. Recently, I went on a date with a gentleman. He brought me somewhere, and I felt very uncomfortable in this environment. So much so that I started getting very, very anxious. I kept pushing it down because I didn't want to appear weird, or how come everybody else is okay with this environment, but I'm not? What's wrong with me? But the truth is I felt very uncomfortable in this environment. I didn't say anything. I wasn't being honest. On my face, I was, appearing to be someone that was okay with this environment. And it wasn't until he looked at me and noticed that I wasn't necessarily okay, and he asked me, what's going on? Are you okay? You don't look like you're okay. He had enough attunement to see that I wasn't okay. And I felt this moment of like, I'm going to be dishonest. No, I'm fine, right? But instead, I did something very, very different than I normally have ever done. I mean, that the stakes were high. If I tell this man, no, I don't want to be here, he might say, well, fuck you, you're, whatever, I don't know. There have been many times in my life where I feared telling the truth because of the backlash I was going to get. But in this moment, I immediately started crying, actually, and I just said, I'm not comfortable here at all. And he immediately was like, okay, thank you for letting me know, like, we can move. And again, it came up again. I wanted to say what I felt, what I was gonna say was, no, it's fine, like, we don't have to move. Like, because why? Because I feel like I'm wrong, because I want to not put someone out. Like, we just got there, now we're gonna have to pack up all our stuff and leave. But thankfully, instead of saying that, I said, I mean, it took me a little bit, but I had to breathe through it. I mean, this stuff for me is multi-layered and deep. And I just held myself and I was like, okay. And we moved to a different location. I thanked him. And as soon as we moved to a different location, all of that tumultuous anxiety that I felt being in this environment, it dissipated. And I felt like I could breathe. And we were in this whole entire new place. And I was like, okay, I don't know why, but I just wasn't able to breathe over there. And I feel like I'm okay here. And that was a practice for me in trying to be more rigorously honest in my life. And there were more things that I could have been even more honest. I could have gone to another level with this man and been even more honest. But that's, I guess, my next level that I'm going to get to, because this stuff, the slower you go, the faster you're going to be able to integrate these life lessons and just be compassionate with yourself. Dating to me is really some of the deepest spiritual work you'll ever do. And then also getting into a relationship, the right kind of a relationship, is the deepest spiritual work you'll ever do, because the person that you attract into your life is essentially going to be a mirror for you. And we need to take radical responsibility for how we're showing up in the world and what we're choosing. And it wasn't until, I would say, about, I don't know how many years ago, but like, I started to really see that I was creating and choosing the men that were coming into my life, and that I actually had an ability to do something about it. And that's when I started learning all about attachment styles and love languages and just so much. And I've been studying it now for like a decade. I really, really can't stress enough about rigorous honesty and what can block us from being rigorously honest, how we become like this. It's not necessarily our faults, but it is our responsibility to do something different. So I'm going to talk about all of this in an upcoming masterclass, and it's called Legendary Love, because I want you and I want me and I want everyone to have legendary love. But this is something that we need to learn. We need to learn how to create legendary love, because I don't know about you, but I was not taught this stuff at all in school. I was taught 2 + 2 = 4, and Columbus sailed the ocean blue. We need to learn skills and tools, and we can learn these things. And I want to teach about a lot of things on how we can cultivate legendary love. And first, I want to talk about a time in my life where I actually got rigorously honest with someone, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I'm going to share all of that in this masterclass. And I'm going to share a story about when I found out that a man that I was dating was actually a woman, and how that was a revolutionary, pivotal time in my life, transformational time in my life. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever walked through in my entire life. And I'm going to share that because I've never actually shared this story publicly. I'm going to share that in my upcoming masterclass called Legendary Love. And if you are interested, just shoot me a message and I will DM you all of the details. And I'll also be going through the ways in which we, why we cultivate this lifestyle in some ways of being dishonest, why we use that as a protective shield, how it can manifest in our lives, and how we can unlearn these things, and how we can start creating this legendary love that we all really, I think, want for ourselves. So drop a heart if you're interested in the link to get into this masterclass. It's totally free. I want to do this because it's just from my heart. I want to give back what I've been so generously given. And yeah, and hopefully I'll see you in the masterclass.